All right, I'm here doing an estimate, and I just kind of want to walk through my process of, where I kind of go from start to finish here. So we're off of a main road, single lane driveway. There's the tree. This is probably not a tree that I would climb. There's lots of targets, including corrugation pipes, comm lines, chimney, roof, and on the neighbors, you got lights, as well as fun stuff going on there. Another thing you got to think about is staging. Where is the equipment going to go? Because we can't be on the road. It's a main road. We don't want to shut a road down into the backyard. My assumption here is that this maple ran into some issues with roots, and whenever this driveway was built, maybe it was cut out. Lots of girdling roots. That could be an issue, but there's lots of decay at the base. You kind of want to get a good look all the way around the tree and kind of see what the tree's canopy looks like from all angles. Here's what the driveway looks like. You got to think about how you would pull your equipment in and how you would stage it, and what would be your drag path. How long would that take? How much volume and wood are you processing? It seems to be, 28 inch at the base, DBH, along with two codominant stems, tight union. Leader is heavier on the left side. Seems to be lots of dying and decayed wood. Unsure of the structural integrity. I probably wouldn't climb it. Got two comm lines, chimney, roof targets, as well as a neighbor's landscaping and driveway light or house light. All the wood is going to be hauled off. Another thing you have to think about is, what is the impact zone like? Is it concrete? How thick is the concrete? Is it cracked? Are you going to crack it? How big of pieces can you drop without messing it up? How much matting or plywood do you need? Just a lot to think about. And it looks like it's all over objects, so everything would have to be rigged. Well, not everything, but a good majority, depending on what the customer wants and what the neighbor of the customer wants. Kind of walked and assessed the job and went to the backyard and saw how much room there was to get around. I have a rough idea in my head, but I'll go home and do the math and put it all together for the client. Another thing to think about is the size of your chipper. What can you chip down to? And then after that, where are you going to put that wood? Where are you going to fall the stem? Do you have room to fall the stem? Do you need to chunk it down? These are all things that go into your bidding factor and your time management. To be frank, it kind of gets old to think anybody can do tree work, and anybody with a pickup truck and a chainsaw can come out here and do this work successfully, because it's a pretty big tree, and it takes a little bit of knowledge and skill set to have a plan to do it effectively. Really look at the leads you're going to be rigging off of and see if that's something you would even do from the ground. There's a lot of dead up in there. So if that's a tree and this is our driveway, where does it make sense to set up your equipment? If I have a chipper and dump trailer, where does it make sense to stage all that stuff? As well as on the day of the job, there's going to be a lift, a dump trailer, and a chipper somewhere in here. It has to be configured in a way that I can get out and that the work can be done efficiently. So we'll probably be dragging butt ends up to here to the chipper, to the dump trailer, and maybe I can swing around, and then maybe I can swing around here once that's full. All stuff you got to think about that goes into the timing on a job, if it's going to take a day or 3 days. It's all very important stuff, and you can really lose a lot of money fast if you don't do it correctly. Just about to grill up some steaks and have a good dinner. Thinking about the bid we just looked at, I've got a price in my head, and it's so hard to do this over video. Unless I know in my heart of all hearts that something can be done for a certain price, I will usually always step back and send the bid after I've done my calculations, usually the following day or within the week. Very rarely will I bid a job on site, and a lot of times customers are want to know how much something is going to potentially cost. But you can also, as the tree guy or contractor, you can get pressured into agreeing to something that maybe you haven't thought of, and that can put you in a compromising position. So it's good to, unless you've done this every day for 30 years, to really think about what your stuff costs and what you need for the job. It's not about what Billy is bidding the tree job. It's about what you can do with yourself and your company. What can you guys afford? Because Kevin Ham says something really cool. He's like, well, what if you do get the job? What if you do get the job for that low bid? Then you're doing free tree work. And I don't know about you, but my bank account isn't infinite. I can't do the tree work for free. I wish I could, but I can't. Just waiting on that charcoal to really heat up. I hope what I'm saying comes across well. Another thing you got to think about is, what is your team skill set? I do some work solo. This is a job that I would not want to do solo. What's the workforce that you need? How many people do you need on the job? What do they need paid? What is their skill set? What access do you have to what skill set? Do they know the knots? Are they, pulling the brush out in the correct manner? Stuff like that. Do they drag the butts first? Do they know how to organize stuff on the ground? Or are they just omnomers who just are basically bodies? There's a big difference between somebody who knows what's going on the ground and somebody who is just a body, and you have to tell every single thing what to do. That takes up on your production too. I don't really know what it's like to work with a crazy good crew, except for when I was out with Randy and Jacob and Isaac. Those dudes got down, and it was like they kind of knew what was going on. I've not experienced that around here. There's a lot of explaining and re-explaining and triple 4-time explaining. It's different if you're working with some people who know what's going on and some day 30s. It's a big difference in your production. Spread those bad boys around a little bit. Got some vegetables going here. I hope you all don't mind that I threw some food content in there. I really like to cook. I really like to cook steaks. I find it best to do on charcoal and do 1.5 minutes on each side, and then you have the perfectly cooked steak. Back to the tree bidding. I think that for me, on a tree job, to make a profit anywhere from 30 to 60% on a job is a good profit margin. And you want to be respectful also to the clients. You don't want to price yourself out of the job, and you don't want to take advantage of anybody. But at the same time, you're a business. Your job is to make a profit and be successful and grow. That's something to take into consideration when you're bidding these jobs, and to know what your skill set is. I've got that figure in my head of what I would bid this job. And this video really isn't about putting prices out there and saying this is what I would bid a job. It's just about going through your own process and what you need for your company. So I just wanted to go through my thought process and everything that I take into consideration when I'm bidding a tree job. I want to know what you think you would bid this at and what works for your process, and if I'm tracking with what the right stuff is. So go ahead, and if you have an idea of what you would bid this job, how many days it would take, go ahead and put it down in the comments. Thank you for watching this one. I had fun doing this one. Let me know if you like this kind of stuff. I'll catch you on the next one.